Hello everyone, my name is TJ Burns and I'm a writing mentor and the author of this book, Writing Wild, Crafting the Pagan Memoir. And this is week 2 of the 6-week free eCourse, Your Story Matters, with me, TJ Burns. If you've come across this video because you did a search on writing or memoir and you'd like to know more about the free course I'm offering, please visit my website at writer TJ Burns. All right, thanks. I'm going to start today by talking about answering a question that I got last week, and it's something that I meant to address on week 1 anyway. I am not just teaching my book for this free e-course. The material isn't just coming straight out of the book. For one reason, that wouldn't be very good marketing on my part if I just gave you all the best bits out of the manuscript for free. And second, Writing Wild is written really for people who want to do a deeper spiritual exploration as it pertains to their writing. And for this e-course, I wanted to keep things as kind of neutral and available to a wider audience of people. So we're staying just focused on the mechanics of writing. So the bottom line is, if you wanted to purchase my book, Writing Wild, it's not just a repeat of all the information that you're getting here. Okay, last week we talked about how memoirs fall into 3 main categories. There's personal history, amazing adventure, and survival and recovery. And I did give you all the challenge to contact me if you knew of a memoir that didn't fit into one of those 3 categories. So far, I haven't heard anybody. So, do you remember back in high school or in college when you had to write that English paper with a thesis? A thesis is a proposition or an argument. Let's say we're writing about Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. We all had to read that back in high school, right? So you remember it. And I want to write about the topic of pearl. But pearl is a pretty broad category still. Depending on the length of the thesis, it would take a ton of material to write about pearl. And my story wouldn't, or my paper wouldn't really have a nice flow to it or any kind of nice nugget of information. So then comes the thesis. Pearl is my topic. And from there, I have to propose something a little narrower, such as maybe the character of Pearl represents the wild, natural state of man. And actually, I did write a paper like that, so that's why it was easy for me to think of that one. And then all the main points that I choose to write about and all the examples that I pull from the novel should support my thesis of pearl representing the natural wild state of man. Well, it's not that different with a memoir. We really have to work to carve out that slice of life so that all the stories that we're selecting flow together and eventually create a full story arc. And that's something that we'll talk about in a couple weeks, I think. Without a theme, it's too easy for us to just kind of meander through and write something that's more like an autobiography or maybe just a random personal history or random family history, like it would be if I just said, I'm going to write about Pearl. Well, what about Pearl? There's a lot about Pearl. And if I just wrote about the character of Pearl with no central theme to it, my paper would be all over the place. So same with a memoir. Without knowing what your theme is, your memoir is going to be all over the place. We have hundreds of thousands of memories to draw on. How do we decide which of those moments belong in our memoir? By having a theme. It really is that critical and that simple. The story about the time you rode a mechanical bull at the county fair may be hilarious. It may kill at parties. It may be the story that everybody asks you to tell over and over and over again. But if you want to write a memoir on the topic of remembering grandma, and that story doesn't really have anything to do with grandma, then it doesn't go in there. How do you check it? Does it fit your theme? If the answer is no, then we have to keep excavating for new memories. So last week, with the homework, you were supposed to identify which category your memoir fits into. The one that I'm working on right now is in the survival and recovery category. My topic within that category, we can think of it as three different hierarchies well, maybe the categories at the bottom. It's the broadest part. It's the bottom of the hierarchy. And then up from that is the topic. So that narrows it in a little bit. The category is survival and recovery. My topic is my mother-daughter relationship with my mother, not with my daughter. And then my theme is up on top of that. My theme is kind of unwieldy and strange, but it's okay. It works for me. And my theme is how religion separated me from the divine feminine and how spirituality brought me back into being whole. So all the memories that I'm going through, the stories about my mother and our difficulties, our challenges in our relationship, that from my perspective I'm seeing as being caused by religion and religious differences. So all the stories I'm going through must somehow fit into that theme of how does this story about my mom relate to my search for the feminine divine, or relate to how I lost myself in patriarchal religions. And so that's my theme. Your theme can be very broad, like remembering grandma, and then every story that you bring into your memoir is focused on a memory of grandma. Grandma in the kitchen, the time grandma spanked you, the time grandma took you all on a vacation, whatever it is, it all fits. If you want to narrow that in, say grandma was just renowned for being the best cook in the county, and you want to have a theme that's about grandma cooking, it might be grandma shows her love through food, or the way grandma taught me to cook, or my memories of grandma's kitchen, something like that. Just remember that the more specific you get with your theme, the more things narrow in. And that's good. We want to narrow, but if you get too specific and too narrow, then the pool of memories that you have to draw from is going to be very small. It's going to be a few little drops. Like, if grandma shows her love through cooking venison on a wood cook stove in 1959, then obviously you're going to have very few stories that can fit into that memoir. So definitely there's a balance. It needs to be narrow enough that you have a flow and that readers will understand what this memoir is about, but not so narrow that you've locked yourself down and you end up with a memoir that's only 10 pages long. And remember, you can write as many memoirs as you want in your lifetime. You're not limited to just writing this one. And so if there are tons of stories about grandma that you want to share, but they don't all seem to fit together or make sense together, then write 2 or 3 memoirs about her. Make one about her showing love in the kitchen. Make one about what a faithful Christian she was. Write one about how she helped you parent your first baby, whatever the situation is. You can categorize that information to write another memoir with it. Okay, so that's the lecture. I hope you're not feeling too intimidated about creating a theme. I think the homework is going to really help you. We have a couple different exercises, and then the writing prompt I suggest you do first. After you do the writing prompt, you really may not even need the exercises. It may clarify things for you completely. But in this case, I would say that the exercises are more of a support to the prompt than the other way around. Don't forget to connect with the group on Facebook, the Your Story Matters memoir group, and just make a request to get added. All right, that's it. I'll see you next week, and until then, write wild.